So our reading is Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 to 10, and it's the parable of the sower. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered round him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, "A farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear." The disciples came to him and asked, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?"
Thank you. Why do you speak to people in parables? In other words, people are saying to Jesus, who's a really good teacher at that time and can teach to lots of grown-ups who've done lots of studying, and he can explain things very clearly. But to ordinary people like you and I, he told stories. And his friends said, why do you tell stories? Stories, yeah, that's what we're telling. If you'd like to go back to your seat, because I want you to help me tell the story in a minute. Will that be good? Great. Okay. Jesus told stories to help people to understand what he was talking about. Okay, you going to stand there then? Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. So Jesus wanted people to understand, so he told things in simple ways that he could understand it. But he just told that story that was read for us. It was about a farmer in his field, but he didn't mention the tractor. Why didn't Jesus mention the tractor? Yeah?
It was before tractors existed.
Tractors didn't exist then. They didn't know about tractors. They'd never heard of a tractor. So he couldn't. The tractor, yeah, they didn't have tractors in Jesus' day. So if Jesus was here today and he wanted to tell that story, he wouldn't tell it like that, would he? He'd tell it differently. And over the last few weeks in church, we've been looking at the way that we read our Bibles and the different cultures that Jesus was referring to. I think you're going to go back to your seat now, but you'll still be able to help me. You'll still be able to help me, all right? Yeah, so we try to understand the culture. And of course, Jesus' culture, when he talked about that, was they worked the land with their hands and with their donkeys or their animals. But today, Jesus would tell the story differently. And I've been trying to think of how he might tell it. And I thought we could act it out between us. So what I need is some people who will hand out some leaflets for me. Right? Excellent, that's what I hoped. So can you just hand these out, make sure everybody gets a leaflet as far as you can. Well, there's some more to hand out here. Would you just take them around the church, hand them out to everybody that you can find. Of course, Jesus had to tell stories because he didn't have the internet and he didn't have Facebook to put things up. He didn't have anything electronic because electricity hadn't been invented. And he couldn't hand out any leaflets because they didn't have paper. And they couldn't do printing because paper hadn't been invented. They had to use animal skins to write on. So things was very different in Jesus' time. I expect today Jesus would use the internet as well, but today we're just going to stick with paper and ink. So, I hope everybody's had a leaflet. Put your hand up if you haven't. I like this. Anybody else not got a leaflet? No, well done. Thank you very much for helping out there. Now we're going to split you into groups. This is group number 1 over here. All right, what group are you? 1. Thank you, you've worked that out. You're group 3. Group number 3, okay? Group number 4, yes. Group number 2, all right? Okay, so Jesus told this story, maybe. The kingdom of God is like a big event being held at King George's Field. Whoa. Leaflets were distributed. Let me see your leaflets. Excellent. Some leaflets fell into the hands of people in group 1. They took one look at the leaflet, thought, not interested in that, screwed it up and threw it away. Some leaflets fell to people, group 2, who were a little interested, look interested. They put the leaflet down somewhere and thought about going. But when the time came, well, there was a good film on the TV and people had things to do around the house and some were invited to go out with friends and lots of other things were found for doing something else. So they didn't go. Some leaflets, group 3, were received with enthusiasm. And people set out to go to the concert. But it was raining hard. And driving around the town and having to park miles away and thinking about the queues they would be, they lost their enthusiasm. They gave up and went home. But some leaflets, group 4, this is your moment, they fell to people who went to the event and didn't mind the rain and put up with the queues and experienced the most amazing evening with Taylor Swift making a surprise entrance at the end. Yeah! Was it great? Yes, that's what we like to hear. And that's how people respond to God today, said Jesus. Some are not interested, some are interested a little bit, but not that much to get too involved. Some think, yeah, actually I want to hear a little bit more, but then it gets too tough and they think, oh no, I can't be bothered. Other people who get really excited, they have a great time, they find out this is much better than I imagined, and they tell all their friends, knowing Jesus is a good thing. We live at a time when people say, I want it and I want it now. You ever said that? No, of course you wouldn't. You're too nice. But people that are not as nice as you, they do. They say, I want it and I want it now. And we can't always have it now, can we? But television suggests that you can get instant fame and success. And we can have shows on television where people don't have to work that hard, but they just have to be in the right place at the right time, and they get lots of things that they've not had to work very hard for. And people expect instant answers to questions. There's a great impatience of people to know all the facts about something, whether it's their business or not. And we've seen that in the news this week. 5 days of headlines in the newspapers. Who's this presenter on TV that's done something wrong? 5 days people talking about who it might be. We want to know, and we want to know now. And when eventually people do find out, then they think, oh, actually, it's none of our business, you know. It's none of our business. And doctors are expected to provide instant cures. You know, you go to the doctor and you want them to make you better, and they want you to make you better now. I'm waiting to go to the hospital. I want an appointment now. And easy credit and loans make it easy to purchase something now. You go onto any website and try and buy something now, and you don't need to have the money. Spread it over the next 3 months. And gambling and lotteries offer a quick way to wealth, supposedly. If only I had £1 million, let me spend a tenner this week, see if it happens. Did it happen to anybody? No. Another wasted tenner. And even in some Christian gatherings, evangelistic meetings offer instant cures, instant makeovers. Life ain't like that, is it? Life has to be worked at. We have to put a lot into it, and we need help along the way. We need to work together with other people. Because to go back to Jesus' first story, the seeds that bear fruit are the ones that are planted and fed and nurtured and allowed time to grow. And we're not the church we are today because of an instant change. Your organisations are not what they are today because somebody had a good idea once. We have all grown slowly, and we are growing slowly because we've invested something of ourselves into something we think is of value. And the more we invest, the better we will become. And it's by working through the tough times and the difficulties and persevering with the hard things that sustainable rewards are found. This has been a good year because good seed was planted in good soil and received good nurture, and it brings a good reward. So may we continue to be people who listen for a word from God, who receive it and believe it and act on it and stick with it so that we can all enjoy the rewards. Yes? Yes. Okay, we're going to sing Jesus, Be the Centre.